Today is Wednesday, August 21st, 1985. Hello once again, this is DVP with another Reds game scored. This will be my 29th game of the season. It'll feature the Reds against Chuck Tanner's last-place Eastern Division Pittsburgh Pirates in the second of a three-game series at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. My last game scored was 3 days ago on August the 18th, the Reds against the Astros in the wrap-up to a series at the Dome, and the Reds won that ball game, and then had an off day the following day. Actually, they traveled to Pittsburgh after the night game on August 18, and they had an off day in the Steel City on Monday, August the 19th, and started up this series of three against Pittsburgh last night, and it was the first win of the year for the Pirates over Cincinnati after the Reds had taken the first 5 in a row against that lowly Eastern Division team, which has the worst record in the major leagues. They've lost 79 times already, and the Reds will be hoping to make that 80 losses tonight, as Cincy will throw out its top winner in lefty Tom Browning this evening, and he'll be hooked up against a pitcher we haven't seen in 3 years, the former Atlanta Brave and Philadelphia Philly right-hander Bob Walk, who has recently been recalled from AAA Hawaii by the Pirates. Pittsburgh clipped our wings last night 3-2. And, well, really hoping for a sweep I was in that series. That would have made a winning road trip for the Reds. But now the Reds will have to win these final 2 games, tonight and tomorrow night, in the final 2 games of the longest road trip of the year. A 4-city, 14-game trip that will close out tomorrow. In order for them to have a 500 trip, they would have to win tonight and tomorrow as well, because they've lost 7 of the first 12 on this road trip. Last night, being Tuesday, August the 20th, and a 7:35 start, the Reds against the Pirates, and Pittsburgh wins it 3-2 behind right-hander Rick Russell, the former Chicago Cub. He came out of no place. He's been resurrected. He was signed to a minor league contract in April of this year by the Pirates. He was at Hawaii. He got the quick recall early this season, and he is the top winner on the team. He's their only starter over 500. He's 9-6 now, as he pitched a complete Game 7-hitter and allowed no earned runs in last night's game. The Reds got an unearned run in the 9th inning. There were some funny scoring plays in that game. In fact, there was a scoring change. Originally, the Pirates were charged with 4 errors in that game. Bill Madlock, 2 of them, but one of them was taken away at the end of the game, so I've got some revised totals, and had that written up in as an addendum to that August the 20th game. The totals look like this: 3 runs, 8 hits, 3 errors, and 4 left on for Pittsburgh. The Reds had 2 runs, 7 hits, no errors, and left 8. Ron Oster was rooked out of a couple of hits originally, and they gave him one on a ball in the 7th inning that he shot past third baseman Bill Madlock to his left. He just got his glove on it, and for some reason they scored that an error. And then in the 9th inning, it looked like Ronnie had an RBI single to right field as Johnny Ray was moving far to his left. He let the ball get underneath him. It probably should have been fielded, but it was a tough chance, and now they gave Ray an error, and that one wasn't changed. And there was even a worse scoring decision in that 9th inning. As Dave Concepcion was at the plate with a runner at first and nobody out, he had a lead pipe double play grounder right back to Rick Russell on one big hop, and there's no reason he shouldn't have had that baseball. It was right in front of him. It skipped off to the right side, and that went down as a base hit. It looked like they were going to change that to an error, but then, well, they decided not to, so that stayed as an infield single for Concepcion, his second hit of the game, and that was ridiculous. So I got to believe that at Pittsburgh, that's the worst city for official scoring in the National League. Time and time again, they come up with miserable decisions, it seems. I remember once, almost exactly 2 years ago this week, it involved Johnny Ray once again, like one of those plays last night. On a ball hit by Dwayne Walker now with the Rangers, he had a grounder up the middle. It looked like a game-winning RBI single. Instead, it went down as an error on a real tough chance. So Johnny Ray has been rooked more than once by the Pirate official score. That's one of the reasons he doesn't have a higher fielding average than he does. That was just silly. There were several plays like that should have been scored one way and then the other, but they did come to their senses and change one of them. So it's 3-8-3 for the Pirates, 2-7-0 for the Reds. Russell 9-6, the winner, with 8 strikeouts and 3 walks, as he beats the Reds for the first time in a long time, I believe. Mario Soto goes down to his first lifetime loss ever at Pittsburgh's Three Rivers Stadium in 9 decisions. His 14th loss of the season. That ties him with the Pirates' Jose De Leon as the losingest pitchers in the National League. Can you believe that? Soto last year won 18 and was one of the top winners and one of the best winning percentages. It's just a mystery as to why Mario can't get his act together. He's now lost 3 in a row and has gone 2-11 since beating those Pirates back on June the 4th. And at that point, he was 8-3 with a 248 earned run average, and since then he's got an ERA of about 4.95 and a 2-11 record. I just don't know what to say about that. It looked like he was on his way to his best season ever with a 4-1 April and 8-3 on June the 4th, but just hasn't turned out good for him at all, and he's gone behind Tom Browning now in wins. Browning enters this one with 11 victories. So Mario's now 10-14. He's working on another losing streak. He's lost 3 in a row. 6 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. Tom Hume went 2 innings to mop up. 2 hours and 17 minutes for that one last night. The attendance paid and total was only 7,827. 7,827 at Three Rivers. Jason Thompson got the game-winning RBI with a home run off Soto. The 25th that he's allowed this year. And that broke a 1-1 tie in the bottom of the 4th inning for Thompson, his 6th game-winning run batted in of the season and his 11th homer of the year and his first since July the 13th. The Reds' RBI was by Bo Diaz. Other run turns out not to be driven in at all because of a silly scoring decision in the 9th inning. Diaz, his 18th ribby and is just his 2nd since joining the Reds. He's only batting about 100 since coming to Cincinnati from the Phillies earlier this month. So that's a look at last night's contest. Not good news. As the Reds lose the first game of this series, we'll hope to even it up tonight behind Tom Browning, the winningest rookie pitcher in the National League. He'll try to improve his record to 12-9 this evening. Well, that's it for a very brief Reds recap here in my 29th broadcast, and now it's time to go to the ballpark on August the 21st.
Reds have out hit them 12-9. They've outscored them 8-5. And Franco, I'm sure, hoping for a 1-2-3 ninth inning and nail down the 62nd win of the year for Cincinnati. Pitch is swung on, grounded to Oster. Ron throws, and he got him one out. Franco's now retired 5 straight since giving up the infield single to Jason Thompson in the 7th inning. Faces Johnny Ray, and Ray is 0 for 3. Walked in the 7th, and he scored. Left-hander turns it loose, and he's at the knees. Call strike. This would be Franco's 6th save of the season. On the outside corner, strike 2, and his 2nd in the last 3 games. He saved the win for Jay Tibbs Sunday night in Houston 8-3, working 3 innings of 2-hit, 1-run baseball. He has Ray quickly behind 2 strikes and misses up and outside with a fastball. That's fouled off. Coming up immediately after the end of the game, Joe will have the star of the game show, and a good bet that he'll be talking to Ron Oster. On 5 straight times tonight with 4 hits and a walk. He also made a fine defensive play on Mike Brown in the 7th inning with the bases loaded. Here's a line drive foul past first base coach Willie Stargell. Stays at a ball, 2 strikes. Ray now and Morrison in a moment. Grounded to second again. And Oster again gets his man at first. 2 out. First at bat for Morrison. He came into a pinch run for Billy Madlock in the 7th inning after Madlock was struck in the head by a pitch from Tommy Hume. Bill appeared to be all right. He got up and left the field under his own power, but Chuck Tanner got him out of there and installed Morrison, and he will bat. Hitting .250, 2 home runs, and 15 runs knocked in. Right-handed batting veteran infielder. Ball to him. 2 balls and no strikes. And Gorder sends out the sign. Franco sends in the pitch. And he's a pitch away from walking him, 3-0. There's Ted Power up throwing once, and that's been the extent of his work tonight. Ball 4. So after routinely retiring Gonzalez and Ray, he walks Morrison on 4 in a row and will face Mike Brown with 2 away and a runner on. It's not been the best of nights in terms of control. That's the 5th walk allowed by the Reds pitchers, and the Pirates have given up a total of 6. Brown has reached on an error, doubled and scored, singled, and with the bases loaded, he had a smash to the right side of the infield in the 7th that Ron Dove made the play on to throw him out. Run scored. Brown takes a strike. That has been, without question, the big defensive play of the game. Pete Rose playing deep and behind the runner at first base. That's line to center. Will it hang up for Milner? It will not. Ball is knocked in front. Eddie tried to shoestring that ball and could not quite come up with it, but fortunate to keep the ball out in front of him. So Brown has had a 3-hit night, and all of a sudden, the Pirates have the tying run at the plate and a man who can leave on you in a hurry, and Jason Thompson. Now Ted Power gets up to throw again. So Franco having trouble closing the door. And Thompson steps in. He had a high chop for an infield hit wide of first. And an RBI in the 7th inning. 2 on, 2 out pitch. And that's taken outside, ball 1. Thompson high and tight, 2-0. Well, if Johnny allows Thompson to get on, you can expect to see Ted Power come in to face Tony Pena. Down 2 balls and no strikes. Runners at first and second with 2 away. And a ground ball to shortstop. Concepcion flips on to Oster for the force at second. And this one belongs to the Reds. In the ninth, no runs, a hit, 2 men left on. Final score, the Reds 8, the Pirates 5, and we will return in just a moment. Tom Browning matched up against right-hander Bob Walk in this second game of 3 against the Pirates, and Browning, coming off of a shutout performance against Houston, had less than his best stuff tonight. In fact, the leadoff batter, Denny Gonzalez, in the bottom of the first inning, hit a home run to left center to give the Pirates a 1-0 lead. But the Reds went to work in the 3rd on Bob Walk. A leadoff triple by Eddie Milner, a ground out by Pete Rose tied the game up. Dave Parker singled, and 1 out later, Nicky Saski crunched his 14th home run of the season to break the tie, give the Reds a 3-1 lead, and they were out in front to stay. They added another run in the 4th inning on a single by Oster, a sacrifice, a wild pitch, and a 2-out base hit by Pete Rose. Rose reducing his number for breaking Cobb's record with that RBI single to 14. But in the bottom of the 4th inning, the Pirates greeted Browning with 3 straight hits. Back-to-back doubles by Mike Brown and Jason Thompson. An RBI single by Tony Pena made it 4-2. And a sacrifice fly by Sammy Khalifa made it 4-3. But the Reds got 2 of those 2 runs back in the 6th inning, and with the help of some less than desirable defense by the Pittsburgh Pirates. Ron Oster singled. 1 out later, Eddie Milner got a walk. Pete Rose grounded to first. Jason Thompson threw to second. They failed to get the out there on Milner, and the return throw to first got off the end of pitcher De Leon's glove for an error. Oster came in to score. Milner went to third, and Dave Parker's ground out got him in to give the Reds a 6-3 advantage. As the Pirates came back with 2 runs in the bottom half of the 7th inning, Tommy Hume was on the mound. He had to be relieved by John Franco. That made it 6-5. But in the 9th inning, the Reds took advantage of very poor control by Cecilio Guante, who issued 3 straight 2-out walks. The latter 2 base on balls coming with the bases loaded. One to Van Gorder to make it 7-5, and the other to Milner to make it 8-5 before left-hander Rod Scurry came on to get Rose to ground into an inning-ending force out. In the bottom of the ninth inning, Franco very quickly retired the first two hitters on back-to-back groundouts, but then Morrison drew a walk. Mike Brown had his third hit of the night, a single to center. That brought the tying run to the plate in Jason Thompson, but Franco got him to ground into a force out at second, and that resulted in Cincinnati's win. The Reds had 8 runs, 12 hits, 1 error, left a dozen. The Pirates had 5 runs, 10 hits, 1 error. They stranded 9. Browning 12-9 with a victory. Franco gets his 6th save, and Bob Walk 0-1 was a Pirate loser. We wrap it up tomorrow night. The road trip in this series, a 7:35 start. Jay Tibbs will take the mound for Cincinnati. He's 6-13. Rick Rhoden, also a right-hander, will do it for the Pirates. He is 7-13. And we'll have it for you beginning with the pregame shows on most of these same stations at 7:05. Again, the final score tonight, a game that took 3 hours and 13 minutes to play before a crowd of 17,198. The Reds 8 and the Pirates 5.
Well, there you have scores and comments with Marty Brenneman on this 21st day of August, 1985. Hello again, this is DVP back Mike's side to give you a blow-by-blow description of tonight's contest, and I'll have pre-recorded highlights with the man you just heard, Marty Brenneman, and also Joe Nuxall, who called some of the action. In fact, he called the Reds' first 4 runs in the game, and they got 3 in the third and 1 more in the 4th inning. And then since he got 2 in the 6th and 2 big insurance runs to cap things off at the 9th inning for an eventual 8-5 victory over the Pittsburgh Pirates to even up this series at 1-1. So it'll be the proverbial rubber match coming up tomorrow on August the 22nd, and that'll wrap up this very long road trip. This is the longest in several seasons for the Reds. 4 cities and 14 games. It'll close out tomorrow, and the Reds can make it a pretty good trip if they have a win, because he would finish at 500 if they can beat the Bucks tomorrow and win 2 out of 3 in this series. That wouldn't be too bad at all, considering the Reds lost 4 of their first 5 on this trip against the Dodgers and Padres. So that'd be a pretty good turnaround to finish at 7-7. Right now, 6-7 with a very good 2.81 earned run average on the road trip, although they're 1 under 500 on the trip. And of course, they had very good pitching at L.A. And one game at San Diego, we lost 4-1 when Jay Tibbs, the man who will be going tomorrow, gave up 4 runs, but all of them turned out to be unearned. And the Reds are only batting at about a 2:29 pace, 2:30 pace so far for the first 13 games on the road trip. So it's barely been inconsistent hitting and pretty good pitching. And some good pitching by the opponents has beaten us in several ball games. For instance, this series, last night, the Pirates' ace, their newly found ace, Rick Russell, pitching a 7-hitter in that 3-2 win for the Bucks last night. That's just their 36th win, and tonight they lose for the 80th time. They own baseball's worst record, a winning percentage that is just over 300. Incredibly, they are 44 games under 500. Can you believe that? And if they lose just 2 more games, when they lose, just another couple of games, they'll already have assured themselves of a losing record for the season. Incredibly, and we're just now into the 3rd week of August. Well over 1 month to play, 1.5 months or so, and they already have assured themselves of a sub-500 record. And I think I heard a stat on the radio that if they were to win every remaining game, all the other teams in the National League East would have to play under a .250 winning percentage in order for the Pirates to overtake first place. So, without question, the Pirates will not be the National League East champions. They are some 16 behind the 5th place club, something like that, 35 games behind the front-running Mets in the East. And I really thought those Pirates might be a dark horse club with that new outfield that they formed, and Steve Kemp and George Hendrick, and they also picked up Sixto Lezcano, and also Rick Russell, who has been a shot in the arm. He's won 9 of their 36, so there's 1/4 of them right there going to Russell. But it just hasn't worked out at all for Chuck Tanner, who continues to be the eternal optimist, and, of course, looking toward the bright side. We hear now where Tanner is interested in buying those Pirates and maybe keeping them stationed there in Pittsburgh, or, I don't know, maybe moving them away. They're not really drawing very well, never have. Only had 7,000 last night, 17,000 plus tonight. And Tanner, the manager of the ball club, thinking about buying the team that he manages. The last time that a man assumed that dual role of owner/manager was old Connie Mack way back when. And I don't know if Tanner will get the Pirates or not, but I think he'd be a logical choice maybe to own the team. He's been there a long time. and has been one of their better managers in the history of the team, although last year they finished dead last, and this season they will no doubt finish dead last again. Somewhat of a mystery, though, this season. I guess the pitching hasn't come around at all. Last year they had the best pitching staff, ERA-wise, in the National League. This year I think they're dead last, and now they're next to the last in hitting with a .239 average, have one of the poorer records in one-run games at 15-29, and have hit one of the lowest total of home runs in the league with just 54, with the one that Gonzalez powered tonight at Three Rivers. So nothing going much right for the Pirates. Of course, they're on the verge of bankruptcy, as we always hear, and we hear about the Pirates maybe moving to different locales, so maybe down at Tampa, Denver, Indianapolis, something along those lines. Another city might be getting the Pirates pretty soon. Of course, they're in dire straits financially. We'll just have to see where they go. We'll see if their Pittsburgh Pirates are, in fact, the Pittsburgh Pirates, and maybe not the Denver Pirates or something else in 1986. This is my 29th game of the year, and it's another victory. This season continues to be a darn good one for the Reds and for my games scored in my own personal season here, covering 29 games. The record is 5 over 500 on the strength of 2 consecutive wins, and 3 wins in the last 4 games, and 12 wins in the last 18. And that is 2/3 going down as wins in those last 18. 17-12 for the year, a very good .586 winning percentage. That brings my lifetime winning percentage up to .579, a 238 win, 173 loss lifetime record for 411 Reds games. This is overall game scored number 420, and this will be my last one for the month of August of '85, and I finish out just as in July, 3 wins and 3 losses. And record against the Pirates is a perfect 3-0. This is the Reds' 6th win in 7 tries against Pittsburgh this season, including a record of 4-1 at Pittsburgh, and they'll have 4 more games to come next weekend at Riverfront Stadium. Some other records, and my game's road record is outstanding, 11-5, including 3-2, will be my final record on this road trip, so I have scored 5 of these 13 games. Against the Eastern Division, 10-6, 6-3 in one-run games, 3-4 against lefties, 14 wins against right-handers, and a night record of 12-8, and since the All-Star game I move over 500, 5 wins and 4 losses. So this will be my last game scored until the first week of September, because I'm trekking down to Riverfront for a 10-game homestand. I'll see every game in that homestand, 3 against the Cubs, 3 against St. Louis, 4 games against the Pirates, and then the Reds will hit the road again, and I'll come back and do some more games, and I'll have recaps on all those 10-ball games in my 30th game of the year. So that'll be a very elongated Reds recap program, probably covering just about all of the first side of that cassette. I'll have to whiz through them fast, and I could have some highlights there, and the old tape recorder down there, and see if anybody maybe hits a grand slam, or maybe Pete Rose gets that big base hit. It's kind of doubtful whether he's going to get it. He'd have to have some kind of a homestand in order to do that. He did have 1 hit today, was hitless last night. He's got 4,178. He needs 13 to tie Ty Cobb. And there's only 11 games until the end of that next homestand, so we'd have to average more than a hit a game. And he won't be playing every game either, because we'll be seeing left-hander Tudor of the Cardinals and lefty Fontenot and possibly lefty rookie Engel of the Cubs. And so it's doubtful whether he will get the big hit on the homestand. So it looks like more and more, as we look at it, it might come on the road. But we'll be facing those Cubs and the Cardinals on the road right after the next homestand. And they do have some left-handers, so maybe we'll run into those lefties again on the road, and that could push back the date until maybe the next homestand sometime in mid-September. That's possible if Rose maybe goes into a cold spell. And, well, we'll just have to wait it out to go game by game. Hopefully Pete can get, maybe 3 more hits tomorrow, reduce the number to 10 to tie, and 11 to break, and that make him, very, very interesting. That would be very interesting for the next homestand. But right now, 4,178, and boy, he's getting close to it now. 4,192 is the big hit, and we're looking forward to that. I will definitely have that on tape later this season. I want 4191 and 4192 with Marty and Joe. Maybe they'll each get to announce one of them. Let's have a look at this date in Reds history. I've got these books before me. Might as well take a look at this while we got some time here for the August 21st game. Only had 1 game in the Reds recap. And I've been picking some good games to score of late. I avoided the loss in this series, got a win tonight. Fine come-from-behind win. As the Reds trailed 1-0 and ended up winning by 3 runs. This is the Reds' 62nd win of the year. You look back to 82, the Reds have now won 1 more game than they did all of that 82 season, when they were 61-101, and that's just about the pace of the Pirates are on now. I don't even think the Pirates are on the pace of doing that good. So Pittsburgh almost definitely will lose. I would say they're on a pace about losing 105 games this year. August 21st last year, the Reds played their 126th game of the year. It was at home against the Cardinals, and the Reds came up with a win. But they were 20 under, even with the win, and 21 back. So you look how much better this season is. 1 year ago today, they were 53 and 73. So the Reds some 11 games better than last year's pace. A crowd of 14,500 saw the Reds beat the Cardinals in the middle of 3 at Riverfront 4-1, and it was their only win in that series. That stopped a 3-game losing streak, and then the Reds went on to lose 6 of the next 7, winning only a 2-0 shutout at Pittsburgh August the 24th. So this really wasn't too good a period. And of course, this was when Pete Rose just took over. A year ago today was Rose's, well, let me take a look here. I think that was just Pete's second win. Yes, that was just his second win as manager with the club against 3 losses, and they went into a tailspin after that, and didn't really start winning again until September 1st. On September 1, Tony Perez had a big game-winning pinch hit dead center field home run off Don Robinson for an 11-inning 7-5 win, and that was their first of 5 wins in the next 7 games, and then they won 3 of the next 4 after that, so things started going better for Pete's club as they wound up 15-12 in September, the second-best record next to the Dodgers in the West for the final month of last season. It's an interesting thing on monthly records. I pointed this up before, that Rose has not had a losing month since joining the ball club when you exclude his partial record for August of last year. He took over midstream August. When you exclude that, he's been at or above 500 for every single month on an individual monthly basis, including this month now. He's over at 10-9, with this being our 10th August win. So they've been in double figures every month in wins, including 10 in the month of April. Also on this date in Reds history, August the 21st, I imagine everybody remembers this, in 1894. Oh, this is unbelievable. The Reds pitchers allowed 43 runs in a doubleheader at Boston. Boy, the ERAs went up, if they even figured them back then. The Reds allowed 43 runs. Must have been Joe Horner and Rich Hinton on the mound giving up the grand slams. When they were, well, they would have been about a negative 50 years old. The Reds lost the first game 18-3 and then dropped the second game by a fairly tidy sum of 25-8 before the game was called after 6 innings because of darkness. They scored so many runs they ran right themselves into the dusk. Boston scored its first 43 runs in only 14. Boston scored its 43 runs in the doubleheader in only 14 turns at bat. They had 14 half innings in which they hit, and they got 43 runs. Unbelievable. Also on this date, a little more recently, 21 years ago in 1964, Billy McCool allowed only 1 hit, and he struck out 9 in 6 2/3 of relief in a 3-2 win at Dodger Stadium in L.A. In 1967, Jim Maloney pitched a 2-hitter at San Francisco's Candlestick Park, and he allowed no hits over the final 7 innings. The Reds won the game 2-0. Maloney also flirted with a no-hitter in his previous start on August the 16th. On this date in 1971, Jim Merritt defeated the Pittsburgh Pirates in a relief role for his only win of the 71 campaign. What a difference a year makes, it says here. In 1970, Merritt was a 20-game winner, and keep in mind he's our last 20-game winner. Have to exclude Seaver in 77. And speaking of him in 77, he is also in here among the August 21st highlights. He made his first appearance in Shea Stadium in a visiting uniform in 1977 on this date, 2 months after his trade from the Mets to the Reds. Seaver pitched a 6-hitter, struck out 11, had a double, scored twice, and won the game 5-1, so a pretty good day for Tom. Now, Jim Merritt is the last 20-game winner. I think he was 20-12 in 1970, but a very high ERA of 4.02. And they mentioned that was his only win of 71. Of course, he was hurt. He hurt himself. I think he broke his arm before the 71 season. Or that might have been after the 71 season. He was hurt for most of 72, and then he was traded. In 71, he started with an 0-11 record. He finished the year at 1-11. That's amazing after winning 20. So that's a look at this date in Reds history, including the 4-1 win last year at home over the St. Louis Cardinals. And on this 21st of August, it was another win. And a good ball game. The Reds wrap out 12 base hits. Team batting average goes up a notch to .249. The team earned run average also went up a little bit, but it's still a respectable 3.72. Reds pitchers have allowed just 963 hits in 1,047 and 2/3 innings. It's not too bad. The Reds have out-hit the opposition 974 to 963, but we have been outscored by 5 runs, 487 to 482. And the Reds have been out-homered by 20, 96 to 76, and 1-1 in that category. 1 given up and 1 hit tonight. The Reds walked 5 in this game. They've now walked a league-high 400 batters exactly with 642 strikeouts. Of course, Mario Soto leads there in Ks and also leads in innings pitched with 219. And the Reds have had 62 wins, 19 complete games, and Franco's save tonight was his second in as many appearances. He's had the last 3 for the staff. Power's been a little used of late. He hasn't pitched since last Friday when he lost against the Astros. And 31 saves now for the Reds. And that's not a bad figure. I think that's in the top half in league numbers. Franco was 6 now, Power 19. He hasn't had one in a long while. We've had 7 shutouts. Browning has 3 of those. 319 pitchers have been used, appearances-wise. And Franco leads. He's gone well ahead with 45 appearances. Reds have hit 76 homers, 282 extra base hits, and a total of 129 stolen bases. As pinch hitters, we're batting .215 with 3 home runs. There's some of your statistics as we get set to recap this ball game. Those are stats through this ball game. The Reds have now won 3 of their last 4 and 5 of 8 and 21 of the last 36, while the Pirates had a 2-game winning streak snapped tonight. They haven't won 3 in a row all season. That's how badly they've been going. They've still won 3 of their last 5. They took 2 out of 3 over the weekend against the Mets and played very well in that Three Rivers series, and now split the first 2 in this set against Cincy. So they were going for their first 3-game winning streak of the year, but they came up 3 short. Therefore, they've lost 11 of their last 14 games, because they had a 9-game losing streak stopped last Friday when they beat the Mets and went on to win 2 in that series. It was right-hander Bob Walk going today for Pittsburgh, just his second start since being summoned from the Hawaii Islanders of the AAA Pacific Coast League, where he was just setting the world ablaze. 16-5 at Hawaii, and last year he did very well there too in the tropical surroundings, going 9-5 in 18 games with a 2.26 ERA, and that led the PCL in 127 innings. Then he got a late season call-up by the Pirates and was in 2 games, going 1-1 with a 2.61 earned run average for 10 1/3 innings. And the year before that, he only got into 1 game with the 83 Atlanta Braves, and the last season he spent full-time in the majors was 1982 with Atlanta. That's his only full year. That's the last time he appeared against the Reds, too. This was his first game against Cincinnati, in fact, since the 11th of September 3 years ago in a game at Fulton County Stadium. He pitched in relief of Tommy Boggs in that game, who couldn't get out of the first inning. He went 2 2/3 innings, walked in, allowed 1 unearned run on a hit with a walk and a strikeout in a no decision. This was his first decision against the Reds since '82, his second loss against us in 5 lifetime decisions, so he had a pretty good record of 3-1 against us coming in. Walk is a 28-year-old right-hander from Van Nuys, California. Born in November of 1956, he's a big one at 6'4", 208. This is his 6th major league season. He spent part of 6 years in the majors. His big league debut was made with the 1980 Philadelphia Phillies, and he was a teammate of our very own Pete Rose. He was 1-0, in fact, in that World Series for the Phillies, as they beat the Kansas City Royals in 6 games, remember. And, well, he's had some tough luck in his career. Walk has. He was released by one club. He was traded away by the Phillies for Gary Matthews in March of '81, and then was released by the Braves last March in '84. Signed as a free agent by the Pirates organization shortly thereafter, and he has found himself in the big leagues. So with his second appearance, it matches the most games he's had in the major leagues in a season since '82. He got into 1 game in '83, 2 last year, and now 2 this season. So he's in the starting rotation for a while because Larry McWilliams has been placed on the disabled list. Jose De Leon's been recalled, and he got into his first game in a couple of weeks tonight. His first relief outing of the year. He's 2-14. The 2 top losers in the National League are in the park in this series. Soto, incredibly, 14 losses. And that leads the league tied with De Leon, who's only won twice. A guy with all that talent. De Leon, I remember a year or 2 ago, was flirted with a no-hitter, actually more than 1 no-hitter when he faced the Reds. Had gone into the late innings with several no-hit games on the line, but ended up, I think, even in fact, losing a couple of those games. I remember Eddie Milner had a base hit to break up a no-hitter, Dan Dreesen another one. So he had not had he had a great deal of success in the early innings in certain games against the Reds, but not so much later on. And he's only won twice this year, found himself in the minor leagues, and now back in the majors because of McWilliams' injury. The starting lineups for this game look like this. Eddie Milner for the Reds led off in center field. He's checking in with a .248 average, and he's been hot. He was on base 5 times in 6 trips in this game, 3 walks, a triple, a single. He boosts his average over .250. He's now hit safely in 5 of his last 6. Pete Rose plays first base and bats in the familiar number 2 position, a former Philly and Expo, hitting at .270. With club leading 61 walks, he's had 80 hits. He's hit safely in 6 of his last 8 games, a home run, and he's knocked in 34. Milner, no homers and 21 RBIs. Dave Parker in right field hits third. He's batting .299, so he slipped under the 300 mark again. He's just had a so-so road trip. And Ron Oster, in fact, has gone ahead of Parker by 2 points in batting average. That's the second time that's happened this month, with Oster having a surge as he was 4 for 4 today. Had a chance for his second 5-hit game of the season. He did it against the Expos earlier, but he walked his final trip, so he was on base 5 straight times anyhow. And he was the star of the game with Joe Nuxall. Parker, in addition to .299, has had 23 homers. Of course, he leads the club there by 10, and he leads in RBIs with a total of 85. 13 game winners, 28 doubles, and he's had 136 base hits, so he's on a pace to maybe get just about 200 hits this season. He had 173 last year to lead the team, 607 at-bats, and he should better that. He's played at every game but one this season. Hitting fourth at third base is Buddy Bell, and he might not be in that position for very much longer. You need more production out of your cleanup hitter than we're getting out of Mr. Bell, the former Indian and Ranger, since being obtained in the July 19th trade for Dwayne Walker and Jeff Russell. And Russell, by the way, won a game tonight, is first in the American League. He's batting only .213, Bell is, without a home run, and he has driven in 7. Has only had 1 RBI since the first couple of days of this month. And he was 0 for 5 today with 2 strikeouts and 3 skyouts, so not much production at all. He's down in the low 200s now, and so he might find himself sitting out a game or two. I think, in fact, we have a hint of that from Pete Rose tonight. And Bell with only 23 hits and 113 at-bats entering tomorrow's game. Hitting fifth in left field is Nicky Saski. He's had a pretty good season for himself, considering the role that he's been used in. And, of course, learning a new position, too. He was platoon for a while at third base with Wayne Krenchicki. Then when Bell joined the team, he became the regular left fielder, has done just a fine job with no errors and an assist out there. 13 homers, second on the team. 42 RBIs, second on the team. He gets his 6th game winner tonight. That's second on the team. And he's also, well, he's third in doubles with 15. And he's got a 5-game hitting streak, a .263 overall batting average for Nick. And really, that's one of the better marks on the club. And when you look at that, that would be 4th on the team. He ups it to .267. And that's just 1 point behind Pete Rose right now. So Nick is indeed having a pretty good year. He's played first base, third base, the outfield. He's also pinch hit quite a few times this season, so he's done everything asked of him. And he's followed by Davey Concepcion, the shortstop, who had a 1 for 5 day. His batting average slips from .249. He's within 1 hit of 100 now. He picked up a milestone stolen base tonight. That's his 300th of his career. His 1 base hit did stretch a hitting streak to 5 in a row. .249 entering with 7 homers. That's third on the squad, and he's third in ribbies with 36. And he's had 5 game winners, his last one coming with that big grand slam home run he hit last Saturday night in Houston. Hitting 7th is the catcher, Bo Diaz, and like another newcomer, Buddy Bell, he's having a struggling time, having a hard time getting going as a Red. Only 2 hits in his last 23 at-bats, 178 for the year, and 119 as a Red. 2 RBIs with Cincy, overall 18 ribbies and a couple of homers. Batting 8th at second base is switch-hitting Ron Oster, and he's having a very steady season this year at .293, and as I mentioned, he's now first on the team in batting. He ups himself to about 6th in the league in hitting with a 4-hit day, and he's now got 112 hits. And that's just 25 behind Parker, and quite a separation, almost 100 fewer at-bats. Oster's hit safely in 5 of 6 and 7 of his last 9. Of course, he should have 113 hits. There's no reason for that ball he hit last night of the 9th inning not to be scored a hit that got under the glove of Johnny Ray. For some reason, they called that an error. A very tough chance. That's ridiculous. If he was at home, I guarantee you Glenn Sample would say base hit on that ball. Of course, every score is different in each city, and Pittsburgh is positively the worst in the league. with several mistakes last night, one of which was corrected on Oster's shot that he hit off the glove of Madlock in the 7th last night. That was changed to a single, so the Reds had 7 hits instead of 6 last night. So otherwise, Oster would be at about 299 right now instead of 300. He should be probably about 302 with that other hit that for some reason was scored in error last night. 9th is Tom Browning, the pitcher. He's second on the club among pitchers and hits with 9. He's done a good job with the bat at 155, and he's knocked in a couple of runs so far this year. For the Pittsburgh Pirates, a rookie, Denny Gonzalez, led off in left field. We saw him a little bit last year at third base. He's out in the outfield now for him, just promoted 4 or 5 days ago. In fact, he's got a 4-game hitting streak since being recalled with a home run in the first inning tonight. A home run, 3 RBIs, and a .238 average for Gonzalez. Hitting second at second base is the former Astro, Johnny Ray. And the switch hitter comes in at .265, 5 homers, 41 he's knocked in. Batting third at third base is Billy Madlock, 4-time NL batting champion. And he's hitting way under his career average. He's about 60 points under his career average, .253 this season. So like all the rest of the Pirates, he's having an off year. 10 homers, 36 he's driven in. He had a 2-homer game last Sunday against the Mets. And so the Reds are getting him when he's fairly hot, although today he was hitless and was knocked out of the game when he was hit in the head by a pitch in the 7th inning. Nothing serious, though. He's expected to be back tomorrow. Hitting cleanup in right field is Mike Brown. He's one of 3 youngsters that the Pirates picked up from the California Angels in that 6-player deal. I think it was August the 2nd. Somewhat surprising moves. And the first-place Angels want to solidify their pitching staff. And also the bench, I guess, getting George Hendrick, along with Al Holland and John Candelaria, 3 veteran performers. Looks like a steal for the Angels, and you don't really know how these youngsters are going to develop yet for the Pirates. The Pirates picked up this guy, Mike Brown, an outfielder with some power, and also a lefty relief pitcher that we also saw tonight in Pat Clements. And they also picked up a player to be named, which has been named, and that is a young man by the name of Kipper. Kipper picked up, and he had some time with the Angels, I think, last season. Clemens was having a good year with the Angels, 5-0 with a save at California this year. And he's got 1 save in 8 games for the Pirates. So Brown is immediately inserted into the Pirates lineup. Of course, he takes the place of Hendrick, who was traded in that deal. So Brown goes right into the fire, so to speak. I don't know if he was playing on an everyday basis for California or not. But so far for the Pirates, he's done an okay job, hitting .262. No homers yet. He's knocked in 6. Hitting 5th at first base is another former California Angel in Jason Thompson. .258, 10 homers. He's driven in 51 runs. So he's not exactly having the best of seasons either. He's been rumored to be trade bait for the last few years. He's still a Pirate, though. They got him in 1981. That trade for Ed Ott. Hitting 6th is Tony Pena, the catcher, .249, 7 homers and 38 RBIs. Batting 7th at shortstop is a rookie by the name of Sam Khalifa. He's been up a couple of times this year from Hawaii. Batting .243, he's had 1 homer, has driven in 13 runs. Sam Khalifa. Batting 8th in center field is Marvell Wynn, .214 average, 2 homers, 18 RBIs. He's not doing much with the bat. He was their leadoff hitter. He's now batting 8th. And batting 9th, the pitcher Bob Walk. In his first game, he was 0 for 2. And he struck out 1 time. And so there you have the Pirates lineup for tonight. A few names in there that we've never seen before, or very few times in the past. Gonzalez and Walk and Khalifa and Brown. And Khalifa, well, has been part of a revolving door shortstop situation, I guess, for those Pirates this season. They had Billy Allman playing there for a while. He's also played the outfield. He pinch hit and was in the outfield later tonight. In fact, Allman, a former member of the Padres and the New York Mets and the White Sox and the A's, he's been around, but he's still not all that old. He's kind of a veteran utility player, like a Jerry Royster type individual. And they had Allman playing shortstop. Tim Foley was there. They reacquired him from the Yankees. And, of course, Dale Barrow was traded, so they don't have him anymore. They also picked up Johnny LeMaster from the Indians, who's been traded twice this season, but he's on the 60-day emergency disabled list, so they had to call up Khalifa again. And he apparently is the mainstay at shortstop for right now. Yours truly, DVP, back on side B of this cassette. My 29th game scored for the season and another Reds win. My 2nd in a row scored and 3rd in the last 4 tries. So that makes my record 17-12 for the year. A percentage that is approaching .600. And it's been a darn good season as we go 5 over the 500 mark, and the Reds go back 7 over the 500 mark. Their high so far this year has been 9 over. Let's hope that can happen with a win tomorrow, and then a win on Friday. First game of the homestand against the Cubs. That'd be nice. And that'd put us probably closer to the Dodgers. And the Dodgers, they won again, so the Reds remain 9 games behind the front runners in the West. We're all alone in third because the top 3 teams all won. The Pods also won their game, so the Reds are 1 game behind the second-place Padres in the West. And the Reds hoping to win this series. It'd be a shame if they lost this series to the lowly Pirates. They haven't lost to a series to them so far this season, and they've always played very well at Pittsburgh, as a 4-1 record this year would show. So I think they got a good chance at winning this series and therefore splitting the road trip. That would be, very, very good, considering they were 1-4 at one point on the trip. I was talking about the Pirates lineup, and we've got Gonzalez, Ray Madlock, Brown, Thompson, and Pena, Khalifa, Wynn, and Walk. That's quite a drastic change from a few years ago. In 1979, the last time the Pirates won anything in the National League. Of course, it's the last time the Reds won anything, too, even though they had the best record in baseball in 81, but we won't talk about that silly season. Back in 79, the Reds won the division, faced those Pirates in the playoffs. That's the last 2 times those 2 teams met in championship play. The last 2 times, either one of them have gone. And it was the 1, 2, 3, 4. That was the 4th time in the 70s that those 2 clubs met in the championship series. That's amazing. And the Pirates whipped up on us 3-0. And, of course, Pittsburgh that season, well, they had just acquired Billy Madlock in June of that year. They had Willie Stargell, the MVP, the co-MVP that year with Keith Hernandez. Stargell was at first base. And they had, of course, Dave Parker in right field. Omar Moreno was in center. They also had Lee Lacy, who's now with Baltimore. He was with them up until last year. Ed Ott, I think, was there behind the plate. They had John Candelaria on that pitching staff. That was Rick Rhoden's first year with Pittsburgh. So the lineup is quite a bit different than it is right now, with some rookies in there by the names of Gonzalez and Brown and Khalifa, and of course Pena came in shortly after that. Tony Pena emerged in 1981 as one of the better catching prospects in the National League, and now he is one of the better receivers. He's not afraid to throw to any base, to try to pick off a runner at any time. He's not worried about throwing it away. I think if the winning run were at third base, and another runner was at first base, in a sudden death situation, Tony would still take a chance at gunning down a runner at first. He's that type of aggressive catcher. He's also aggressive at the plate. He reminds you of the former Pirates catcher, Manny Sanguillen, the way he hacks at some of those high pitches way out of the strike zone. He's that aggressive type player. Of course, very good friends with Mario Soto, and those two were yupping it up at home plate last night. Soto struck out a couple of times, and he was giving Pena, heck behind the plate for calling a curveball with the pitcher at the plate. But that's what you get when you're a top-hitting pitcher on the team. He's got 10 hits, and they're afraid that he might burn him. He hit a home run last year. Whereas Pena and Soto have always been very good friends. And they play together in the Dominican Winter League in the off-season they have in the past. So it's a couple of, it's a lefty for the Reds, and Browning, right-hander for the Pirates, and Bob Walk. The umpires for the game, Joe West behind the plate, Frank Pulley at first base, Scott Grinder was at second, Dana Demuth over at third. Game started at 7:37. The weather conditions, high today of 72 in Pittsburgh, a very crisp evening in the offing in Pennsylvania. Low tonight going down to about 50 degrees. We had southwest winds at the stadium, partly cloudy conditions, with some blue shining through at times during the game. Of course, getting dark fairly late, so most of the game is really played before the sun completely goes down. But this was a long one, so it definitely was pitch dark by the time this one ended. This game didn't go over until that would be 10:50 p.m. Eastern Time, because it started after 7:30, and they went 3 hours and 13 minutes. This is one of the longer games that I've scored this year, second longest. That was my clocking also, 3-1-3. That is a long one for a 9-inning game. In the top of the first inning, Eddie Milner led it off with a base hit into right field. He has been swinging a pretty good bat. He's now hit safely in 5 of his last 6 and 17 of his last 22 games. He's batting about 300 in those last 22. That's his 79th hit of the year. And he then moves up on a hit-and-run play when Pete Rose hit a 3-2 pitch on the ground to second baseman Johnny Ray, and he threw him out. And with Milner at second base and one out, we don't do much else. A wild pitch by Walk gets Milner up to third base from where he could have scored on a deep fly by Parker, but instead he went down swinging on a 3-2 pitch. He's been a little bit cold of late. He hasn't been producing quite as much as he had in previous days. And Buddy Bell then popped one up to shortstop, so we had the two big run producers, and Parker and Bell up there, runner in scoring position, and couldn't get the job done. No runs, a hit, one left. In the bottom of the first inning, the Pirates take a quick lead, and I mean very quick. On a 2-0 Browning fastball, Gonzalez deposited it over the left center field fence for a home run. A line shot that just did get out. His second of the year, his fourth RBI, his second major league clout. He didn't have any last year. So a home run for Dennis Gonzalez. That's Denny Gonzalez. That's the 20th that Browning has surrendered this year, second on the team, next to Soto, who's also given up more than 20. I think that's the first time that's happened in years. Two pitchers giving up more than 20 homers for the Reds. But it has happened. But still, you can't argue with the success that Browning has had. If he had not given up a lot of those homers, he'd have won some more games. He's given up two grand slammers, one against the Cubs, one against San Diego, and those cost him a couple of games. He was taken out immediately after each slam, and among his 9 losses, I'd say more than half of them have been lost as a direct result of the long ball. So he's behind, immediately 1-0, facing Johnny Ray, and on a 3-2 pitch, he got him to look at a third strike, and Country Joe West behind the plate, a little bit indecisive. He finally punched out Ray. Madlock then walked. And then Mike Brown hit a ground ball that went right through Buddy Bell for his 5th error since coming to the Reds, his 21st error overall this season. Somewhat uncharacteristic of the 5-time former Gold Glove winner. 5 errors already, and he's been here a month and 2 days. That ball went down the left field line. It was picked up by Bell himself. He fired to the shortstop, Concepcion covering second. Madlock had taken a wide turn and almost came to third. But Bell recovered quickly, and Mike Brown, well, he thought that Madlock was going to third, so he kept on going to second. So they ended up with 2 runners at second base, and you can't have that. So Pete Rose got the baseball from Davey, and he went over and tagged both of them who were standing on the bag. And, of course, the man who was there first is entitled to it. That's Madlock. So Brown is out 5-6-3, so we get a break there. And then Thompson hit a ground ball on a 3-2 pitch to second base, and he's thrown out at first. No runs. 1 run on the homer. 1 hit, an error, and 1 left. In the top half of the second inning, the Reds have a threat again, with 2 out this time against Walk. But nothing of this. The first 2 batters ground out to shortstop, Esaski and Concepcion. Diaz walked on 4 in a row, and then Oster on a 3-2 pitch and an infield base hit to shortstop. That's his first of 4 straight hits. So he's now hit safely in 5 of 6 games. An infield base hit here that gets Diaz to second, but he's left on. They both are, as Browning struck out swinging. He was looking for his 10th hit, his 3rd RBI, and he came up with nothing but air. No runs, 1 hit, 2 left. In the bottom of the second inning, a 1-out double proves to be a wasted effort for Pittsburgh rookie shortstop Sam Khalifa. 2-bagger down the left field side after Pena flied to right field. With 1 on and 1 out, Wynn on a 3-2 pitch popped into shallow right center field. Oster, a nice catch. He's a good one at just about every aspect of playing second base. He can dive to all sides. He made a fine diving play today to rob the Pirates of a run. And I was thinking of my last game score, too. I think I was talking about the same thing. Oster, a fine diving stop. Yes, indeed I did. I was thinking, for a second, I thought it was the same play. I thought I was getting mixed up. Thought I might have been talking about the last game that I did against Houston, but indeed, in that last game, he saved that win for Jay Tibbs. A diving stop up the middle on a ball hit by Jerry Mumphrey, just a sensational stop. They got the force out at second base. Davies' throw was a little bit offline, and a run scored. But 2 runs would have scored, and Tibbs would not have gotten his 6th win of the year had Oster not made that great play. The Reds went on to score some more runs later on, and they won that game 8-3. And again, they scored 8 runs in this game, so the Reds have scored 16 during my 2-game winning streak here. And Oster, another diving stop off the bat of Brown in the 7th inning tonight. I'll get to that later. So he's made some fine plays in the field, and he's having just a great year with the bat. A shoulder injury earlier in the season looked like it might hamper his hitting. As he was diving for a ball against the Giants, and another one of his sensational stops, he came up with a sore shoulder He jammed something there, and that still kind of aggravates him. He said tonight on the Star of the Game show, whenever he has to leap for a ball, or maybe take a throw where he has to jerk his shoulder there a little bit, and that sometimes gives him a twinge, but nothing really serious, thank goodness, and he's having the best year that he's ever had. And Ron made a good play on this pop into shallow right. That was kind of in that in-between area. This ball that Wynn hit. Parker coming like gangbusters, like a freight train back there, but he wasn't able to catch up to it, and Oster made the catch. So with a runner at second and 2 out, Walk hit a ground ball to Oster, and he fields this one cleanly. He had a lot of chances in the field. He had about a dozen chances in the game, including 5 in a row in the late innings, in the 8th and 9th. He had 4 assists and a putout in a period of 1 2/3 innings. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left in the Pirates' second. It's 1-0 Bucks as we go to the third, and that changes here as the Reds tally 3 against Bob Walk. The Reds get 4 base hits. They have 2 singles, a triple, and a homer in this third inning, and we'll plug it in with Joe Nuxall off of the Reds Radio Network.
Walk back for the 2-1. Swung on and hit well into right center field. That is extra bases. It short hops the wall. Milner makes the turn, and he's on his way to third. Here's the throw over that way, and he's in standing. Or sliding, rather. It looked like Eddie, in watching the ball, almost missed second base. He was going a little wide and had to kind of regroup to tag second. So Milner has his 5th triple of the year, and the Reds the opportunity to tie it up in a hurry. Again, the 2-2 to Rose. That swung on and bounced to Thompson at first. He'll underhand to Walk for the out as Milner scores to make it a 1-1 game. Pete gets his 35th RBI. 1 away, and Dave Parker the batter. Walk ready to work to Parker. His first pitch is swung on and bounced into right field, a base hit. Johnny Ray made a dive for it, couldn't get to it. Parker leads at first with 2 out. Isatsky swings and hits one well to left field. Going back Gonzalez. He's at the bench. It is out of here, and the Reds lead it 3-1. So Nick got into an 0-2 pitch, and Walk has his arms crossed, and looked like a breaking ball. He got up and out over the plate, and Nick takes care of it as he hits it into the seats in straightaway left field for his 14th home run of the year, and the Reds jump in front 3-1.
Well, that turns out to be a game-winning 2-run, 2-out homer by Nick Isatsky on an 0-2 pitch as well, so he was really behind the 8 ball there, and Bob Walk had him where he wanted him. And there were 2 out, just a runner at first base, and the tying run not even in scoring position, so that's what the home run can do for you. On an 0-2 pitch, he rips one into the seats in left field, number 14 for Nick, his 4th on this road trip. That's an average of 1 per series. He started it off with a home run that he hit in the 2nd inning of I think it was the 2nd game of the road trip. That was in a loss to Los Angeles, the only run we got in that game, and that was our only RBI in something like 3 straight games after that. And Nick has added 3 more since then, so he's got a total of 14 now, 9 behind Dave Parker. That's the 76th homer for the Reds this year, and that is the 43rd RBI for Nick, and also his 44th on that 2-run blast. He's second on the team in ribbies. He's had a lot of RBIs of late. He's gone ahead now by a total of 8 on anybody that is behind him. And for Isatsky, that's a game winner. His 6th game-winning RBI. He's alone in second place there, 7 behind Dave Parker. So he's second. He's runner-up to Parker in all these offensive categories. That's a career high by 2 for Isatsky in the major leagues. He had 12 2 years ago, 10 last season, 14 this year. So he's been in double figures every season, and he's had a grand slam in each of those seasons. He had 1 in 83, 1 in 84, and 1 this year. And Isatsky's home run off of Bob Walk cleans off the bases for Dave Concepcion, who keeps the inning going with a base hit into left field, and then he steals a base as the catcher couldn't get the ball out of the glove. Otherwise, Pena with the shotgun iron might have had Concepcion, who has been caught stealing 10 times this year, but he makes it here for the 15th time, his 300th career steal. Entered the season with 285. He's now got 300 lifetime. That is one of the best totals in Reds history. 300 career stolen bases for Davey Concepcion. He's at second for Diaz. He struck out swinging. Now, to start off the inning once again and recapping, Milner triple to right center field. He's in first place by himself in triples now with 5. That's the 25th 3-base hit. that the Reds have had this year, the third on this road trip. Then Pete Rose hit a ground ball 3-1 after fouling several pitches. First base to the pitcher, he gets an RBI. That's his 35th of the year, and that ties it up. And then on the first pitch, Parker singled into right field. That means he's now hit safely in 7 of 9, and all but 4 of his last 15 games, his 137th hit of the year. The first pitch base hit, and he's on base. That's important because he's on when Nick goes deep. Bell then struck out swinging for the second out. Then Esaski's homer, then Concepcion's base hit, steal, and then a strikeout. And we get 3 runs on 4 hits, and 3 different types of hits. No errors, 1 left on, and it's 3-1 Reds. So the home run proves viable in this game. And Esaski, who owns a lot of power, displayed some of that against Bob Walk and the Pirates. And Walk not exactly thrilled, giving up that 0-2 homer. In the bottom half of the third inning, Browning doesn't give up much here. He gives up a leadoff base hit to Gonzalez into left field, but then he is caught stealing. Diaz, a perfect throw to Concepcion to nail Gonzalez. Then Ray hit a ground ball to second, Madlock fly to right, no runs, 1 hit. In the top of the fourth, the Reds get 1 more run, and it again comes with 2 out, and the skipper knocks it in.
He delivers the 3-1, and Rose swings, and that's hit in the middle and up in the center field, a base hit, and he's 14 away. And Pete jumps on the 3-1 pitch and sends it into center field, picks up his 36th RBI of the year, and it's a 4-1 ball game. That's now with 8 hits, and Dave Parker steps to the plate.
So player-manager Pete Rose comes through once again. A ground ball did the job with nobody out in the third inning. Here he comes up with a 2-out base hit. Well, he knows that he can't ground out to get a run in because that's the 3rd out of this inning, so he decides to get a base hit. Any way he can get a run in, he's going to do it, and he does it in another fashion his next time up, although he not really is directly responsible for the run. No RBI on that play. He had a ground ball to first base, and there ended up being a couple of throws made. Nobody was retired on a potential double play ball. And they didn't get the out at second, and they didn't get the out at first because the pitcher let the ball go right through his hands. That turned out to be an error, but his ground ball led to the misplay. So that's sort of, you could say, another way to get the run in with the error in the 6th. So 3 straight times, 3 straight times up, runs scored after he swung the bat. A ground ball, this base hit, and then a fielder's choice. A single to center, and that drives in a run. To start off this 4th inning, Oster singled to right. Then on the first pitch, Browning put down a good sacrifice bunt. That is his 8th sacrifice bunt of the year. That now leads the team. 1 more than John Stuper, who I think is getting dusty sitting on the bullpen bench. That goes 5-4 on Browning. And then Milner on a 3-2 pitch foul pop to first base. Runner at second, 2 out, Rose singles. So the sacrifice very important there to set up the run. Good job executing, something the Reds have not done all that much of this year. Not really all that many sacrifice bunts. Rose comes through with a base hit to tie him with Concepcion for 3rd on the team in RBIs with a total of 36, 2-2 at bats. And then Parker on a 3-2 pitch hit a fly ball to left field. The other way, Gonzalez made the catch. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 left, and the Reds lead 4-1 going to the bottom of the 4th. And that run in the 4th inning was important because we kept the lead after the Pirates scored 2 in their half of the 4th. So it was a 1-run game once again. Browning struggled through this 4th inning, and then was able to get 3 out of 4 batters out in the 5th. He was able to go to the minimum of 5. Pete Rose was trying to get him through 5 innings so he could get the win. That's exactly what happened. He didn't pitch exactly a stellar game coming off that shutout that he pitched at Houston last weekend. But still, it got the job done. He allowed 7 hits, 3 runs. And his control wasn't as sharp as it could have been. He allowed 9 base runners and a home run in that period, but still it was enough for him to get the victory. In the 4th inning, he gave up back-to-back doubles, but still a run didn't score. That sounds strange. Mike Brown led off with a double to right center field. Then Thompson hit a high fly to deep right. Parker went back. He leaped at the fence. It looked like it might be a home run, but it stayed in the park. And since Brown had to hold up to see whether or not Parker might make the sensational catch at the wall, he was only able to go to 3rd because Parker got it back in a hurry. But still, Thompson got a double out of it. So they were at 2nd and 3rd for Pena, who on the first pitch wrapped a single to right field to get a run in. They held Thompson at 3rd base. And for Tony, that'd be his 39th RBI of the year. Nobody out. And they've got the tying run at first base, but they only get one more run in. And that was on a first-pitch sacrifice fly to right, hit by Sammy Khalifa. Looks like they might have a chance at the slow-footed Thompson at the plate, but he's able to get in there ahead of the throw from Parker, which goes all the way through to the plate. And on the throw, Pena goes to second. So tying run now in scoring position with only one out. But then Marvell Wynn looked at a third strike. Good pitch from Browning, a big second out. Then they sent up a batter for Bob Walk, as Bob's only able to go for. It's right-handed hitting outfielder Sixto Lezcano. He's been through the wars. Last few years, he's been with a lot of ball clubs, formerly with the San Diego Padres, and before that, the St. Louis Cardinals and the Milwaukee Brewers had quite a bit of success in 1980 for Milwaukee. Gobble home runs, lots of RBIs for that team, which was in contention that season. And then, of course, in 81, they won part of the AL East. And then in 82, they won the whole shebang in the American League. Lost out to the Cardinals in the World Series. They haven't been heard from since. Really since Lezcano left the ball club. He was traded to the Cardinals. He was there for one season in 81, and then he had some degree of success with the 82 and 83 San Diego Padres. I remember he burned up the Reds in one series 3 years ago, collecting a couple of game winners and a doubleheader. Had something like 6 hits. So he has hit the Reds in the past very well. And the Pirates signed him as a free agent, as one of their many new faces for this season, which have not helped at all. And he got booed fairly hard by some of the fans as he came to the plate. I guess they don't like his 100-plus batting average. And he walks here as a pinch hitter, Sixto Lezcano, a veteran outfielder, and now he's a reserve. I thought he was going to play more than that, but not so. He's just a pinch hitter. He walks on a 3-2 pitch, first and second, 2 out, and 2 runs in for Denny Gonzalez. The tying run still out there at second, and Denny, who hit the home run earlier and had a base hit his last time up, hits into a fielder's choice here, and that goes 6-4 to win this inning. So Browning wades through it without them tying the score. 2 runs, 3 hits, 2 left, and this was a slow-moving contest. It was an hour and 20 minutes old after just 4 innings, and they play almost another 2 hours after this. In the top half of the 5th, it's the second of 5 pitchers used by Chuck Tanner. And this is a right-hander, Jose De Leon, coming on to pitch the 5th. He got Buddy Bell to strike out swinging. Then he hit Nicky Sasky with a pitch. A glancing shot, no damage done. Unlike when Madlock was beamed. Looked like he might have been seriously hurt, but we understand now that he's okay. I guess he had a ringing in his ears and came out, so he had a hit batter on each side. Something I have not penciled in a long time. Doesn't seem like there's ever any pitching violations in these games. Incredibly, the Reds have made only 3 balks all year. 3 balks all season. That is as many as Bob Walk made in 1 game last week. Walk balked 3 times, if you can believe it. According to the box scores, he committed 3 balks in his first start of the season this year with the Pirates last week, giving up 9 hits, 3 runs, and 6 innings with 4 strikeouts, 2 walks, and 3 balks in that start. Got a no decision in that game. Now, the Reds have made just that many all season, with Mario Soto's last week being just the 3rd and the 1st in months. That's the best total in the National League for fewest balks. Maybe if the umpires are cutting down on that, not calling as many this year, but I certainly haven't scored many on either side of the fence. In the 5th inning, with Sasky at first on the hit batter, Concepcion had a fly ball to center, Diaz went down swinging, no runs, no hits, we left 1. In the bottom of the 5th inning, Browning goes through the frame, does okay, and is able to get the win. With 2 out, Brown had his second hit, a single into left center. He's left there as Thompson fanned swinging. That was after consecutive ground balls to short by Johnny Ray and Billy Madlock. No runs, 1 hit, they left 1. In the top of the 6th, the Reds get 2 runs back, and they take a 6-3 lead after they score twice off a De Leon in this inning, and one of these is unearned. Let's listen in with Marty Brenneman.
Rose swings, ground ball first, played by Thompson. He will go to Khalifa, and the throw not in time. The ball thrown away. And in to score comes Oster, and Milner goes to 3rd. Eddie got the safe call at 2nd. And the throw by Khalifa got through, allowing Milner to go to 3rd, and Oster to come in to score.
Marty, I don't know what happened to De Leon. That was a good throw from Sammy Khalifa, and he just missed the ball. I'm going to see how they score that with some of the scoring here. It ought to be real interesting.
Sure should. Parker waggling that bat around, swinging, hitting a high chop, right side. That is slowly hit, fielded by Ray, throwing on to Thompson. Milner scores. Rose moves to 3rd. It is 6-3, and Parker has his 86th run batted in.
So we didn't have any run-scoring base hits in this inning. We got a lot of these runs in on non-base hits. In fact, as I look at this, a lot of the runs came in without the 8 base hits. It looks like we only got 2 run-scoring hits in the game, so really some gifts by Pittsburgh, although only one of the runs is unearned. But still, we had a couple of bases-loaded walks, as Marty Brenneman said earlier, in that 9th inning. So there's 2 of the runs coming in on something other than a base hit. Pete Rose's ground ball in the 3rd got another one in. A ground ball that you just heard by Parker got another one in. That's 4. And then an error and another one in. That's 5. Yes, so only 3 of the 8 came in on hits, and 2 hits produced those 3 runs. So Reds used a lot of different avenues to score tonight. To start off that 6th inning, Oster had his 3rd straight hit. He leads off an inning 3 straight times in the 4th and the 6th and in the 8th, and each time got on with a base hit. Here he singles to right field, then pinch hitter Max Venable, batting for Browning, looked at a 3rd strike. He wasn't happy with the call, but he went down anyhow. He's now 5 out of 15 as a pinch hitter. He's the only pinch hitter the Reds used. Reds 34 pinch hits with 19 RBIs. Venable tied for first in pinch hits with Cedeno and Gary Redus. So 1 out, 1 on for Milner. He walked on a 3-2 pitch, and on the 2-2 pitch, they almost had Oster picked off. As he started to go stopped, and Pena made that shotgun throw to first, and they just did miss getting him. Oster, a good slide back into the right field side to avoid being nailed. So that's a key play to get back in there. 2 on after the Milner walk, 1 out, and Rose hit that chopper to first. It looked like it might be an inning-ending double play because Rose has no speed. The throw from Thompson went to Khalifa. He apparently came off the bag too soon, so safe at second. And the throw to first, which I don't think would have had Pete. The official score is assuming that Pete might have been safe, otherwise both of these runs are unearned. That has to be the case. I don't think they would have had him. But in any event, the error is charged here as the ball went right through. The error is not charged for Rose reaching first. The error is charged because the man scored from 3rd base, and Milner went to 3rd. Oster scored on the play, so it's a fielder's choice and an error on De Leon. The ball just seemed to go right through his glove. And it was a pretty good throw from Khalifa. So instead of a double play, they get nobody out on that ground ball to first base, so we get a big break right there. And runner at 3rd base, 1 in. Parker knocks in the run, a ground ball 4-3. 86th RBI, as Marty said, for Dave Parker. That's just 8 away from his last year's total, which was his best total since '79. So he's going to get 100 RBIs with ease, it looks like, this season, unless he comes down with some kind of disease that cripples him for the rest of the year. He's only 14 shy of the 100 plateau, something a Red has not done since '78. So 2 out now. And Rose went to 2nd base on that ground ball. Bell, a fly ball to center. 2 runs, 1 hit, 1 error, and 1 left on. In the bottom half of the 6th, it's a new Reds pitcher in righty Tom Hume, who goes 1+ in the game. He walks Pena on a 3-2 pitch, and after Khalifa struck out swinging, Wynn lined into a double play. A liner right at Oster, and they easily doubled off Pena at first base. That's our only DP in the game, and number 101 for the season. No runs, no hits, none left. In the top of the 7th inning, the final of 3 frames for De Leon, who allowed just 1 hit in 3 innings, but gave up a couple of runs. In the 7th, he got him in order. This is a rare time. The Reds are retired in order. In fact, the only time of the game is the only time in the game we do not leave at least 1 man on base. Esaski, a pop-up to shortstop and shallow left. Concepcion, a sky ball to left field. Diaz went down swinging to end an inning for the 3rd straight time. He's been ice. He's now 2 for his last 26, batting .174 and .111 as a Red. 5 hits and 45 trips. Nothing across there. In the bottom half of the 7th inning, the Pirates get close. It is a 6-3 game at this point. The Pirates make it 6-5 with a pair against Tommy Hume in the 7th. And John Franco has to come in and bail him out. First of all, Steve Kemp bats for De Leon. He pinch hits a double into the right center field gap on the first pitch. His 5th pinch hit of the year in 16 trips, so he's done a good job there. He, of course, was disabled to start the year, and has really not got back on track since. Gonzalez, a fly ball to shallow center. Nobody can move up. Kemp, the only base runner that is, can't move up. Ray walked on a 3-2 pitch, and then Madlock is struck in the head. It looked like he was hit in the temple. It just shot that batting helmet right off of his head as he went down in a heap at home plate. He wasn't carried off the field. He went off on his own power. I think he wanted to stay in, but manager Tanner decided to get him out of there in favor of pinch runner Jimmy Morrison, who went to first base to run for Madlock. Looked like that might be serious, but apparently not. Hit in the head by a Tommy Hume fastball. And that loaded the bases for Mike Brown. On the first pitch, he had a ground ball to second, diving stop by Oster. Nice play. He threw him out at first as a run scored Kemp from 3rd base, and runners moved to 2nd and 3rd. That was a big play right there to save a run for the meantime. And here comes John Franco out of the bullpen. He has been called upon quite frequently, more so than Power of late. He gave up an infield base hit to first base off the bat of Jason Thompson, and that got a run in, as Jason gets his 52nd RBI of the year, and Brown earlier had his 7th NL run batted in. And Rose, it looked like if Rose maybe had played that ball and then fed on to the pitcher in a hurry, they might have got the out, but he charged in, wanted to see what the runner at third was going to do, and it took a high hop, went off of his glove. There was no chance to get anybody. So a scratch hit for Thompson and a run batted in, and Morrison went to third base. So there's the tying run at third for Pena. He flied out to right field, so Franco got the job done and saved us for this inning, and of course for the rest of the game. 2 runs, 2 hits, 2 left. It is 6-5 Reds going to the 8th. In the 8th inning against their third pitcher and lefty, Pat Clemens, the former Angel, he gave up leadoff base hit to Oster, his 4th hit, a single to center field, and Van Gorder, batting in the number 9 position when a double switch was made, he struck out swinging. That's his first at-bat since August the 8th, a long time since he's been in there, and he went down swinging. Then Milner walked for the second time, rose a fly ball to right field, and that was deep enough to get Oster to third base, but he was left on when Parker struck out on a check swing. No runs, a hit, we left a couple on. In the bottom of the 8th inning against Franco, we got him in order. A first pitch ground ball to second hit by Sammy Khalifa. Then pinch hitter Billy Allman hitting for Wynn hit a pop up to second. And Oster also gets involved in another chance here as pinch hitter Lee Mazzilli hitting for Clemens hit a ground ball to him that went 4-3. Mazzilli now 12 out of 42 as a pinch hitter. He has been the most used pinch hitter in the National League. That's his 53rd pinch hit appearance, most in baseball. Has to be more than anybody in the American League too because of the DH. Let's go to the top of the 9th inning, and this is some good stuff for the Reds. We get 2 runs with 2 out on bases-loaded walks to Van Gorder and Milner. Here's how that sounded.
And Guante will try Van Gorder one more time. Here it comes. And it's ball 4, and he forced in a run. That's a big one. Freitas comes home from third. It is 7-5. 1 run is in with the bases loaded and 2 out. The payoff coming. Eddie takes, and there's another run in. Ball 4, low and inside. It is 8-5, and that is going to be all for Cecilio Guante.
Well, you could hear right there that Cecilio wasn't exactly the most popular fella in the ballpark after he walked a couple of people back-to-back with the bases loaded. Not exactly something you want to do in a close ball game. And those were 2 big runs that the Reds got right there. To start off the 9th, Bell hit a fly ball to center. Esaski then singled to left. He's taken down for pinch runner Arias. Concepcion fly to center. 3rd straight time he had skied out. So 2 out, runner at first, and the good things start to happen. 1, 2, 3, 4 straight batters reach base. A single by the pitcher. The pitcher, Franco, in the number 7 position, is not taken down. I was a little bit surprised. Maybe they didn't take him down with Power still in the bullpen. But he has a base hit to center field. That's his 2nd hit of the year. He had a gift base hit earlier this season on a routine ground ball back to the pitcher, just like that ball I explained before that Concepcion hit last night. Routine grounder. For some reason, the pitcher's not expected to field at all. That was a play earlier this season. Franco got an RBI on that ball, but this is a legitimate hit into center field, 1st and 2nd. And Oster then walks. Van Gorder walks on a 3-2 pitch to get a run in, his 21st RBI. And Milner walked for the 3rd straight time. That was on a 3-2 pitch, and Guante was not received well by the crowd at Three Rivers tonight. After this base on balls, Tanner not at all happy. RBI for Mills is his 22nd of the season, and it's 8-5 Reds. So 2 gift runs really right there. With 2 out, he couldn't throw a strike 3 or even anything to get a fly ball or a ground ball to Van Gorder and Milner. Not exactly the top hitters on the ball club. And here comes lefty Rod Scurry to bail out Guante, who only goes 2/3 of an inning. And Rose hits into a forced play 6-4 to get Milner. 2 runs, 2 hits, no errors, 3 left. And we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. And Franco disposes of them. He gets 3 of 5 batters. He got the first 2 on ground balls to second base. Gonzalez on the first pitch hit a ground ball to Oster, and Ray grounded out to second base. And then Morrison, up for the first time, walked on 4 pitches. And then Brown dunked a single in front of Milner in center field. He blocked it with his body to keep Morrison at second. And then Thompson, representing the tying run with the power to go deep. He went deep last night with a game-winning homer. This time he hits a ground ball to shortstop. Concepcion is there to feed on to Ron Oster. Another chance for Ron. And so he indeed was involved in some way in every out in the last 2 innings, 8th and 9th. He gets the final put out here to win the game as they force out Brown, and the Reds win it 8-5. No runs, 1 hit, and 2 left in the Pirates' 9th inning. And now we quickly move along to some final things for the ball game of Wednesday, August the 21st. There were doubles, 4 of them, all for Pittsburgh. Khalifa, Brown, Thompson, and Kemp in respective fashion. Triple by Milner, homer by Esaski is 14th, and a homer by Gonzalez, number 2. A game winner for Esaski, a stolen base for Concepcion, number 300 career-wise. Caught-stealing Gonzalez, sacrifice bunt by Browning, and a sacrifice fly by Khalifa. A little bit of everything here. A double play for the Reds and a couple of hit batters. Hume hit Madlock, De Leon hit Esaski, and 2 wild pitches, both by a walk. The winning pitcher was Browning, 12-9. And save goes to Franco as 6th, and the loser is Walk, 0-1. I was talking about wild pitches. I think I failed to mention one of them. There was a wild pitch after Browning's sacrifice in the 4th inning. I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but that was his second wild pitch that walked through in the game. So Walk's first decision is a losing one. He's now 1-2 with Pittsburgh lifetime this year and last year. The Reds had 8 runs, 12 hits, and left 12 with 1 error by Bell. The Pirates had 5 runs, 10 hits, and left 9, and 1 error by De Leon. 3 hours and 13 minutes for the game, a crowd of 17,198 paid to see it. The Reds used 14 players in this one, 3 pitchers. The Pirates went with a total of 18 players and 5 pitchers. In this, Pittsburgh's 116th game of the year. They are 44 under. At 36-80, a .310 winning percentage. They're in dead last, of course, by many games, 35 back in the East. Number 24, Denny Gonzalez in left field, 2 for 5, a run and a run batted in. Number 3, Johnny Ray, 0 for 4 with a run. Number 5, Bill Madlock, 0 for 2. Number 2, Jimmy Morrison, pinch runner, third base, 0 for 0 with a walk. Number 17 is Mike Brown in right field. He had a good day, 3 for 5, he scored once, and he drove in a run. Number 30, Jason Thompson, 2 for 5 with a run batted in and 1 run. Number 6, Tony Pena, 1 for 3 with an RBI. Number 27, Sammy Khalifa, the shortstop. He had himself a 1 for 3 day, knocked in a run. Number 36, Marvell Wynn, 0 for 3. Number 12, Bill Allman, pinch hit center field, 0 for 1. Number 18, Bob Walk, 0 for 1. Number 28, Sixto Lezcano, pinch hitter, 1 walk. Number 25, Jose De Leon, 1 error. Number 13, Steve Kemp, 1 for 1 with a run scored. Number 15 is Pat Clements, nothing across. An interesting thing I noticed on Clements, if you take away the final letter, last letter of his name, and you put on an E instead of an S, who do you have? You got somebody by the name of Clemente, who is very near and dear to Pittsburgh Pirate fans. Of course, that is in Roberto Clemente, who was killed in a tragic plane crash in 1972 after having exactly 3,000 career hits to end that 72 season. And, of course, known as the greatest pirate ever, Hall of Famer Roberto Clemente. And Clements, I just noticed almost the same spelling there. If you had an E instead of an S, you'd have another Clemente on the Pirates. Pat Clements, number 15. Number 16 is Lee Mazzilli, former New York Met and Texas Ranger, and New York Yankee. 0 for 1 tonight. Number 47, Cecilio Guante, and number 19, Rod Scurry round out their players. They had 10 hits and 34 at-bats. They scored 5 times with 1 error, 5 RBIs. Let's look at the pitching data for the Pirates pitchers. 4 innings for Bob Walk as he loses. He allowed 8 hits, 1 homer, 4 runs, all earned. He walked 1, threw 2 wild pitches, and struck out 4. De Leon, 3 innings, a hit, 2 runs, 1 earned. A hit batter, a walk, and 4 Ks. Clements, 1 inning, a walk, a hit, no runs, 2 strikeouts. Guante, 2/3, 2 hits, 2 runs. He walked 3, no Ks. And Scurry, 1/3 of an inning. For Cincinnati, this was game number 117. They've won 62, they've lost 55 for a .530 winning percentage. That's a lot better than the .310 that the Pirates own for the worst in baseball. 9 back for the Reds now in third place. Number 20, Eddie Milner, 2 for 3, 2 runs and an RBI. Number 14, Pete Rose, 1 for 6 with 2 RBIs. Number 39 is Dave Parker, 1 for 5 with a run and a run batted in. Number 25, Buddy Bell, 0 for 5 with an error. Not a good day for him. Number 12, Nicky Saski, 2 for 4, 2 ribbies and a run. Number 2, Gary Reedus, pinch runner left fielder, 0 for 0 with a run. Number 13 is Davey Concepcion, 1 for 5. Number 8 is Bo Diaz, who was 0 for 3 with a walk. Number 31, John Franco, helped his own cause, kept that inning going in the ninth with a big base hit. He was 1 for 1, scored once. Number 16, Ron Oster, 4 for 4, a walk and 2 runs. Number 32, Tom Browning, 0 for 1 with a sack. Number 9, Max Venable, 0 for 1. Number 47, Tom Hume, and number 23, Dave Van Gorder. The latter 0 for 1 and an RBI. 39 at-bats, 12 hits, 8 runs, 7 knocked in, 1 error for the Reds. Reds pitching lines. Tom Browning goes 3 over 500. He's got a 3-game winning streak. And he has won himself 5 of his last 7 decisions. Not a bad streak for him. 5 innings, he allowed 7 hits, 1 of them a homer. 3 runs all earned. He walked 2 and fanned 3 batters. And then Tom Hume came on. He allowed a hit and 2 runs in 1 2/3 innings. A hit batter with 2 walks. And both runs are earned. He also struck out 1. Franco a save, 2 1/3 frames, 2 hits, no runs, a walk, and no strikeouts. Seasonal pitching line on Bob Walker looks like this. 10 innings. He's allowed 17 hits in 2 games. No complete games. 7 runs, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts. His ERA jumps up to 6.3. And what do we have on these other relievers? I think I got pitching lines on them. How about starting with, Scurry, 25 games. He's got a save, no record, and a 3.30 earned run average. Guante is 3-5 in 49 games to lead their staff. He's got 2 saves and a 281 earned run average. Clemens in the National League this year has no decisions but a save in 8 games and a good 117 earned run average, giving up just 2 runs in 15 1/3. And Jose De Leon struggling with that 2-14 slate in 21 appearances without a single complete game, surprisingly. 125 innings, only 103 hits. He's pitched in some tough luck. He's got a 481 earned run average. He's allowed 71 runs and 11 homers to this point this season. For the Reds, Tommy Browning, 12-9 now with a 361 earned run average. He's having a good rookie season. He's won more games than any other rookie pitcher in the majors. He's been in 27 games with 5 complete games, 3 shutouts, 184 and 2/3 innings, 168 hits, and 80 runs. He has struck out 104 and walked only 54. Good ratios there. Against the Pittsburgh Pirates, he goes to a record of 2-0 lifetime, no games last year. He's got a complete game shutout against him this season and a 193 earned run average. He blanked him on 5 hits, 8-0 back on May the 18th. As for the relievers, Tom Hume is now 2-3 in 42 games with 3 saves and a 353 earned run average. John Franco, who has pitched runless ball in 10 of his last 11 appearances, he's got a 178 earned run average, a 10-game winning streak. 6 saves, 70 and 2/3 innings. Boy, just outstanding numbers for him. He's had saves in 3 of his last 5 games. And now 6 saves on the year, career high for Franco. I had a club pitching streak I wanted to take a look at before we close this thing out. In the last 9 games, the Reds have a very good ERA of 2.53, going 5-4 in that period, allowing the opposition just 28 runs in 78 1/3 innings. We've had 4 saves in those 9 games, and 3 of them by Franco, and also have a complete game shutout by Browning in there. So very good club pitching over the last 9 ball games. Let's have a look at the scoreboard quickly. In the American League, the Toronto Blue Jays lead by 3 games in the East, and it's the California Angels by just a 1.5 games over Kansas City in the West. In the National League, the Mets lead by 1/2 over St. Louis and 6 over Montreal. In the West, the Dodgers with 71 wins, the second best record in the National League at 607, 8 ahead of the Pods and 9 ahead of our very own Cincinnati Reds, who have been in the top half of the division just about all season long, something we haven't been able to say since 1981. What a good year it has been. I know the Reds are 9 back. It'd be very, very difficult for the Reds to get back into first place. Of course, we haven't been in first since, I think, late April. We were a 1.5 games ahead for like 2 or 3 straight days in late April, but not since then have we been up there. Of course, we were in second for a while. I think the goal now would be to finish second and just try to chase down those Dodgers. We've got 7 left with them, and who knows? Stranger things have happened. We could come back from 9 back, but I think people have a tendency to say, well, this road trip hasn't been all that successful, and we've lost some ground on those hot Dodgers. People may be giving up again on Cincinnati, but just consider what you expected out of these Reds at the beginning of the season. Who would think that they would have been this far over 500? I was hoping for a 500 season, and we should do better than that this year. Let's have a look at final scores in Major League Baseball for this Wednesday. In the American League, Milwaukee clipped Minnesota 3-2. The A's got by the Tigers 4-3. It was the Indians 5, Toronto 2, Texas 5, Boston 3. Kansas City squeezed by Chicago 2-1. New York 13, California 10. That one took 10 innings, and Baltimore blasted Seattle 11-8. In the National League, San Francisco over the Mets 3-2. The Padres down the Expos 6-2. The Dodgers clobbered Philadelphia 15-6. It was the Cubs 9, the Braves 5, and the Cardinals 7, and the Astros 4. There you have the quick scoreboard, and once again the final from Pittsburgh. The Reds win to even up this series. It's Cincinnati 8 and Pittsburgh 5 in 3 hours and 13 minutes in front of 17,198 fans. Until my next game, which will be sometime in early September, so long for now.